Remember the rush of the gavel striking, the crowd holding its breath, and the promise of hidden treasures buried behind those rusty doors? Over the years, Storage Wars became more than just reality television. It was an emotional roller coaster filled with unexpected victories, bitter rivalries, and, yes, even life and death moments. Rumors swirled that some of our favorite bidders and auctioneers had tragically passed away, leaving viewers to wonder, did those familiar faces truly vanish forever? The truth is far more inspiring than any spin-off drama. None of the core cast members have died. Instead, they've weathered accidents, health scares, personal losses, and important life decisions that transformed both their careers and their outlooks on life. This is the real story of how they almost lost everything and how they fought back to live on, stronger and wiser than ever. Barry Weiss was the personification of joy on screen. With his vintage car, white gloves, and that mischievous grin, he taught viewers to see storage lockers not as profit margins, but as time capsules brimming with stories. After 4 seasons, Barry slipped away quietly to return to his passions: classic cars, antique hunting, and unhurried adventures far from cameras. Then in 2019, a motorcycle accident in Los Angeles nearly ended it all. He suffered multiple broken bones, serious internal injuries, and endured a grueling recovery involving several surgeries and months of rehabilitation. The same hands that lovingly caressed dusty vinyl records and regilded forgotten furniture had to relearn the simplest motions. His legs, once confident at auction, hesitated with each step. Yet Barry's trademark optimism never wavered. He approached rehab like another grand expedition, tackling each challenge with patience and curiosity. By 2021, he emerged into the public eye, his pace more measured, his smile more poignant, and his story a testament to the unbreakable spirit that made him everyone's favorite treasure hunter. Hester exploded onto the scene with a booming "Whoopee" and a swagger that promised high-stakes drama. Known for slamming his chips down and outbidding competitors by a single dollar just to rattle them, Dave was the man you loved to hate. Yet in late 2018, he was felled by a sudden stroke that robbed him of his speech and fine motor control. Gone were the rapid-fire bids. In their place, a long, humbling path through speech therapy and physical rehab. Fans tuned in to see their fiery rival brought low, but they also witnessed the grit that defined his persona. Piece by piece, he rebuilt his voice and his confidence. By mid-2019, Dave stood once again in front of a storage unit, calmer yet no less determined to win. His comeback wasn't about reclaiming his old persona. It was about proving that even the loudest warriors sometimes must go silent before they roar back to life. Ivy Calvin arrived like a storm, a former arena football player and mixed martial artist whose mere presence cleared a path through the crowd. Crowned the king of Palmdale, he sniffed out hidden gems in seconds and ruled his resale store, Grandma's Attic, with an iron and often playful fist. Over time, however, fans noticed that his booming laugh and fierce competitiveness were showing up less on their screens. There was no scandal to report, only a man who chose family and health over the spotlight. He began bringing his sons to auctions, not for flashy wins, but for life lessons in patience and persistence. By bowing out without fanfare, Ivy reminded us that some victories, like raising a family, outshine even the biggest profit margins. His quiet retreat underscored that fulfillment often lies in the peaceful margins of our lives, not under the glare of high-powered studio lights. Daryl Sheets lived up to his nickname, the Gambler, by placing massive bids that seemed fueled by adrenaline alone. Yet in early 2019, that adrenaline nearly killed him. After dismissing a growing chest pain as nothing serious, Daryl suffered a massive heart attack that forced him to confront his own mortality. Emergency surgery saved his life, but the road back was a slow crawl filled with cardiac rehab and careful lifestyle changes. The man who had once dared to risk everything became more deliberate, his bids smaller and his pace more measured. Screens may have missed him for a while, but fans who followed his update posts witnessed a transformation. A fearless gambler who learned that the biggest stakes in life aren't measured in dollars, but in the beating of your own heart. Brandy Passanti and Jared Schultz turned marital partnership into must-see television. Brandy's cool, Calculated bids balanced Jared's impulsive grabs, creating the kind of on-screen chemistry that kept viewers coming back. Behind the scenes, however, the pressures of constant filming and the unrelenting chase for profits began to strain their relationship. By 2020, the couple quietly separated. There were no on-camera shouting matches or headline-grabbing exposés, just two people who grew apart under the weight of cameras and cash registers. Brandy shifted her focus to raising their children, while Jared pursued side ventures at a slower pace. Their split remains a poignant reminder that even the strongest partnerships sometimes fracture, and that stepping away can be the most authentic choice imaginable. Renee and Casey Nizorda arrived with boundless enthusiasm, Renee's booming voice matched by Casey's keen eye for detail. They were not just partners in business, but partners in life, celebrating big wins and shrugging off duds together. In 2023, tragedy struck when Renee's father passed away after a brief battle with lung cancer. The news delivered an emotional blow not only to Renee, but to fans who had cheered them on. Instead of chasing the next auction, the couple turned inward, prioritizing family, healing, and a legacy beyond profit. Though they remain active in the resale world, their story now resonates with deeper meaning, a reminder that loss can redirect our pursuit from fleeting gains to lasting values. No one could keep an auction block alive like Dan and Laura Dotson. His rapid-fire chant and her warm encouragement energized every bidding war. But in 2014, Dan collapsed from a brain aneurysm, and Laura's quick thinking saved his life. Surgery and months of recovery were followed by returning to the podium with a newfound appreciation for each moment. Dan's auctioneering remained as speedy as ever, but his laughter gained an extra layer of gratitude. Laura stayed by his side throughout, embodying the steadfast partnership that allowed both to thrive. Their survival story underscores that the real magic of storage wars has always been less about sold lockers and more about the people who bring them to life. Mary Padon showed us that creativity could turn junk into treasure. On Storage Wars Texas, her background in design and architectural journalism shone through as she pulled out discarded trunks and envisioned them reborn. When she transitioned to the California series, fans nicknamed her the Junkster for her knack at upcycling. But after a few seasons, Mary began to focus on her own online store, where she could breathe new life into her finds without the constraints of television schedules. The choice was not born out of controversy or crisis, but from a desire to channel passion into entrepreneurship. Though no longer a regular on screen, Mary's legacy lives on in every piece she transforms and every fan she inspires to look beyond the surface. Emily Weiss stormed into the show as one of the youngest professional auctioneers in the game. By 17, she had already honed her fast-paced chant in Iowa, and by season 10, she commanded attention with her polished style. However, after just a couple of seasons, Emily stepped back. She married her longtime partner, embraced motherhood, and even launched a music career, showing that a career pinnacle doesn't have to be a life sentence. Her departure was not mired in drama, but in personal growth. Emily reminds us that success can be multifaceted, and sometimes the most rewarding auctions aren't on stage, but in the arenas of family and personal fulfillment. Kenny Crossley brought laid-back charm and a deep Southern drawl to every auction. A former law enforcement officer turned colorful storyteller, he found his place alongside Barry Weiss and charmed fans with wit and warmth. Over the years, however, Kenny's screen time diminished, not because of any feud, but because he shifted his energy toward entrepreneurial ventures, including a clothing line and even a donut shop. While his absence left a void in the bidding room, his legacy endures in the small businesses he's built and the laughter he once sparked on camera. Kenny's journey proves that sometimes the sweetest returns come not in the form of auction profits, but in the communities and passions we cultivate beyond the bid. Every one of these Storage Wars personalities has faced their own high-stakes moments far more harrowing than any locker full of dusty boxes. From life-threatening accidents and health scares to personal losses and the quiet choice to prioritize family over fame, they have navigated challenges that would have felled lesser competitors. Yet today, no core cast member has died. Instead, they live on. In interviews, business ventures, family photos, and the countless fans who continue to cheer them from the sidelines. Their true treasures aren't the antiques they've resurrected, but the second chances they fought for and the lives they've rebuilt outside the glare of reality TV. So the next time you hear a rumor about a tragic exit, remember this. The real power of storage wars isn't in the auctions, it's in the resilience of the people who make it unforgettable.